This is the story of Francis Coke, born into a high-ranking, well-connected family in 1603. Our story is set mainly in the mid-1640s, when the English Civil War was at its height. The Royalists were besieged in Oxford, with the parliamentarians at the gate. But let us begin much before that, in 1617.
Anna, what's all this noise? What's going on?
Mistress, it's the men at the gate. They are demanding entry to the house and your lady mother is trying to stop them.
My mother? But she's in London.
She arrived a short while ago. She's at the gate.
But who are these men? Have they come to rob us?
I don't know, mistress. But your lady mother tried to prevent them from entering. She laid down in front of the gate and said she would lose her blood before she would suffer them to enter.
Oh no! Is there no one that can stop them? What shall we do?
Sir Edmund's man came to the gate. Her ladyship begged him to draw his sword, but he would not. The men pushed her aside. They're in the forecourt now. It sounds like they are breaking down the door. You should hide, mistress. They may mean us harm.
Where shall I hide?
Upstairs. Quickly, mistress. There's no time to lose. Quickly, mistress. Quickly. Hurry. In here.
And it's taken hold of your brain. You've been dreaming.
What's happening?
Nothing to distress yourself with. You came here last night in a dreadful state and I took you in. My name's Agnes.
This is your house? Where?
Oxford, mistress.
Oxford? Is the king here? Is Robert?
I know of no Robert, mistress, and I'm sure the king would not visit such a humble house as mine. I believe he is in the city with his army. But rest now, rest. We can talk later. Oh, you're out of bed. Are you feeling better?
I heard shots fired, Agnes. What's happening?
Oh, another skirmish, no doubt. Since the Roundheads lifted the siege, General Brown's men are always troubling us with raids. All I know is we're running short of everything. But look, I've made you some broth. It's all I could manage, but please try to eat it. You need to keep up your strength.
Where is the king? Is he still here in Oxford?
I have no idea, but please come and sit down and please eat something.
Such dreadful times we live in, Agnes. It's no wonder I have such bad dreams.
Oh, well, you certainly were in distress last night, calling out for your father.
Yes. I was back in my youth. That time when my father came to fetch me from Sir Edmund Witherpole's house at Oatlands. He was set on my marriage to John, and my mother was set against it. She did everything she could to prevent it. But my father's will prevailed in the end. 15 years old, and being pushed from one place to another between my parents.
What do you mean?
I haven't always lived like this, Agnes. I come from a wealthy, well-connected family. On my mother's side, the Cecils were a noble family. My mother was lady-in-waiting to the old Queen. My father at one point was Chief Justice and Attorney General. but he was always in and out of favour with King James. That's what caused all the trouble.
The war?
No, not that. My troubles, and my disastrous marriage to Lord John. Father thought that marrying me into the Villiers family would bring him back into favour with the king. John's younger brother, George Villiers, who later became the Duke of Buckingham, well, that happened after we were married. But even in 1617, it was clear he was a favourite of the king. Father thought that marrying me to his brother would be a good move, though it cost him plenty in marriage settlements.
But your mother didn't agree?
My mother and father didn't agree on anything.
Yeah.
They were constantly at war with each other. They were made to face the Privy Council at one time. That forced some sort of reconciliation, but it didn't last. I was always being moved from one house to another. I was virtually a prisoner at Kingston, at the home of my stepbrother. Father made me sign a letter to Mother saying that I agreed to the match, and then Mother tried to free me by hiring a band of armed men. I mean, a band of armed men! Can you imagine?
Oh, what happened? Were you hurt?
No, the plot was foiled, and Mother was forced to face the Privy Council yet again. This time they ordered her imprisonment.
Prison? Your mother?
Well, not a regular prison. She was sent to be held in the custody of first one alderman and then another. But with Mother out of the way, there was nothing to stop Father. In September 1617, he had me presented to King James at Windsor, and the betrothal took place there and then. By the end of the month, I was married to John Villiers, Viscount Purbeck, as he is now called, and me just 15 years old.
Oh, mistress, so you are Lady Purbeck? I am so sorry, my lady.
No, Agnes, it is I who am in your debt. You have taken me in when you were in such straitened circumstances yourself. Please, do not address me as my lady. I am poor Francis now.
And Lord John, is he dead now?
No, he lives still, but we have been apart for years. His brother, Lord Buckingham, once so keen to bring us together, was just as keen to keep us apart once John's health began to weaken.
What ailed him?
He lost his wits, his mind. 1 minute in the depths of depression, next raging like a mad bull.
He got angry with you? It must have been terrifying. Did you get violent?
No, not to me. He was more likely to cause physical harm to himself. There was one time he thrust his arm through a glass window.
What? Why ever would he do such a thing?
He was much disturbed in his mind. He had converted to Catholicism, which greatly upset his brother and the king. They tried several times to persuade him to abandon his new faith, and I suppose it just drove him mad. They were at Wallingford House, his brother's new home near Whitehall Palace. John suddenly flew into a rage. He beat and broke the window glass, cutting his hands. All bloodied as he was, he began shouting at the people in the street below. I mean, you can imagine how astonished they were. This nobleman, a madman apparently, smeared in blood and shouting that he was a Catholic and would spend his blood in the cause.
How dreadful! And you witnessed this? It must have been terrifying.
Indeed it must, but I was not there myself. John and I lived mainly apart when his illness was at its height. I was at Denmark House, or staying with my mother, but I heard about it. It was very embarrassing for Lord Buckingham, and he and the king soon made arrangements to have poor John removed from London and safely hidden away in the countryside. After that, his illness came and went, but we were rarely together. I realised eventually that this was all part of Lord Buckingham's plan.
His plan?
Yes. Thanks to my father, but more especially my mother, Lady Hatton, I brought great wealth to the marriage. While the balance of John's mind was disturbed, Lord Buckingham took control of his finances, the wealth that I had brought him, and left me very ill provided for.
Oh my dear, however did you manage?
Well, I can be very determined, you know. I wasn't going to stand for that. I wrote to Lord Buckingham, saying that if he was a man of honour, he would not deprive me of the company of my husband. I also reminded him that the wealth his brother enjoyed had come from me, and that I had not come into marriage as a beggar, but that due to his treatment of me, I was likely to end up as one.
And did he relent?
No, I had to carry out my threat to expose him publicly by petitioning the king. That forced him to ensure that I was comfortably provided for on condition that I lived apart from John.
What an extraordinary situation. So you and your husband were never blessed with children?
Well, there was a child, a son.
Was a son, you said? He didn't survive, I take it.
Oh, he survived all right, and now he brings me nothing but grief. He has joined the enemy, Agnes.
What?
He is fighting with the parliamentary army. He may well be at the gates of this town now, along with my mother.
Your mother supports Parliament too?
Indeed.
Oh, so you have a son who's fighting his own father?
His own father? Oh, Agnes, it's not that simple.
Look, I can see this is distressing for you. Eat your broth and try and get some rest. I'll return a short while later. Do eat.
Francis. Francis. Francis.
What are you doing here? Are you sure you weren't seen?
Have no fear, my love. I took every care.
But it is so much more dangerous now. Come away into my chamber. We may be safer there.
I had to come as soon as I heard you were back. How are you? Are you well?
I am quite well.
And my son? Where is he? Can I see him?
Calm yourself, my love. He is not here.
What? Is he dead? Where is he?
Shh! Don't raise your voice. You may be heard. No, he is alive and well, but he is not here. He is with a wet nurse.
A wet nurse? Of course. But where is she?
Safe and away from here. Obviously, I could not bring the baby back here to Denmark House.
They still don't know. Do they not suspect?
I was very careful. The birth did not take place here.
Well, I expected as much. But tell me how you managed it without arousing their suspicions.
As I neared the time of my confinement, I made arrangements to take up secret lodgings in White House Street, outside the city walls. I left here in my own coach with my gentlewomen, Elizabeth, Dorothy and Anne.
Your gentlewomen, can they be trusted?
I have absolute confidence in their loyalty, but I was less sure of the coachman and footman. We changed coaches at St. Paul's, and the ladies and I travelled the rest of the way in a hired coach. I asked the men to wait in a nearby inn for me until I sent them word. No one knew our destination.
And what of the people in the house where you lodged? Who were they?
They did not know my real identity. I gave my name as Mrs. Wright, wife of John Wright of Bishopthorpe, Yorkshire.
But they did not ask the whereabouts of your husband.
No, I managed to avoid that question.
And what of my son? Are you sure he is safe?
Quite safe. I had him baptised immediately, and he was given the name Robert Wright. Then he was sent away with the wet nurse, and we returned here, taking the same precautions with the coaches as before.
Oh, how I long to see him. Surely you can't be away from him forever.
No, not forever, no. But for now, I must try to keep him a secret, and so must you. Now please, you must go. Someone may come in here very soon, and you must not be discovered.
mistress, you should have called me. I would have attended you.
You do not need to attend me. We are all paupers now, Agnes. Perhaps I can make myself useful in some way?
Oh, no, I wouldn't hear of it, mistress. Take a seat. I'll warm you some milk if there's any left. Wait till I go to the dairy.
No, Agnes, don't trouble yourself on my account. I am quite all right.
Well, if you're sure.
I thought you might be anxious to know about the father of my son.
That's none of my business, mistress. It's nothing to do with me. You don't need to have to explain yourself.
It's no secret, Agnes. The whole affair was known to all in London at the time. To the whole world, I shouldn't wonder.
Oh?
My son's father was Sir Robert Howard, the Earl of Suffolk's son. We were lovers, you see.
Oh!
I am sorry if that shocks you, Agnes. Will you still allow me to stay beneath your roof?
It's not for me to judge you, mistress. Of course you must stay.
I am very grateful for that, Agnes. The parliamentarians have seized all my property and goods. I have nothing left.
So when you asked me about somebody called Robert, you meant...
Sir Robert, yes. He is fighting on the royalist side. As a member of Parliament, he may well be here in Oxford, since the King has moved his temporary Parliament here.
Oh, that Parliament is long gone, mistress. Does Sir Robert know you're here?
I do not know, but I'm sure he will try to find me if he can. My son was born in October 1624, and although his father and I have had many trials and separations since then, we have remained true to each other.
But you never married.
Well, how could we? While my husband, Viscount Purbeck, lived, it was impossible. Is impossible still.
And does he know about his son?
Oh yes, everybody knows. As soon as John's family found out about the affair, I had the baby and wet nurse brought back to Denmark House so we could be together. But it didn't last long. Lord Buckingham had me removed to the custody of Alderman Barker. Eventually, they allowed baby Robert and his nurse to join me there. I told everyone that Robert was my husband's son, but they didn't believe me. Although, for a while, John went along with it.
But you lived apart.
Yes. I told them that John had slipped away from the custody of his family and come to me. It was an unconvincing claim. Lord Buckingham was worried from then on that this child would become John's legitimate heir and would inherit the Villiers' wealth. He did everything he could to prevent that. Sir Robert and I were put on trial for adultery at the Ecclesiastical Court. That was in March 1625. Robert refused to take the oath, so they could not proceed against him, although they still excommunicated him. I too tried to refuse the oath, but they prevailed in the end. I'm sure you must be curious to know what happened at my trial.
It's none of my business, mistress. You don't have to tell me.
But you must be curious. It took them a long time to decide. Church courts can be very slow, but when King James died at the end of March, it slowed things down even more. 2 years, Agnes. 2 years they kept me waiting.
Madam?
Is there any news?
The sergeants came to your house in Stepney to arrest you, madam, but the servants said you were not there.
Did they tell them where I'd gone?
They said they did not know.
It is gratifying to have such loyalty, Dorothy. I may have been convicted of adultery, but my servants have not deserted me.
Indeed, madam, but it can only be a matter of time before the sergeants find out your hiding place here. They will take you eventually, I fear.
I cannot let that happen. You know the penalty imposed on me by the courts. A fine of 500 marks is one thing, but to do penance in public? In the Savoy Church? That I will never do. I will never give my enemies the pleasure of seeing me humiliated. I'm stepping in bare feet with all the filth of the street.
I have been thinking of a plan for your escape, madam.
You have an idea?
Well, you may not agree to it.
Tell me.
As soon as we get word that the sergeants are approaching, we will dress young Thomas, the ambassador's page, in one of your gowns and hood, and send him out at great speed in the ambassador's carriage. The sergeants will think it's you and give chase.
But when they overtake him and discover his true identity, they'll soon be back.
Not soon enough. You will have escaped in another coach, dressed as a man.
But my son...
He will go with you, of course. Come, madam, there is no time to be lost. Let us make haste.
And this plan, did it work?
Oh yes, it worked very well.
Did they catch up with you?
They did not, although they kept trying. But I was in deep hiding. Eventually they gave up the search and excommunicated me instead.
Oh, mistress, is that not a terrible thing?
I did not believe they could do such a thing to a person of my rank. So I claimed noble privilege. Unfortunately, they did not agree. However, they did grant me 20 days grace period during which I could not be arrested. That was my chance.
Your chance?
I fled to Sir Robert's estate at Clun in Shropshire.
So you were reunited with Sir Robert?
I was indeed, Agnes. Robert and I lived with our son in a great house called the Hall. It was in the woods in Clun. It was very remote and isolated, and we felt very safe. Oh, Agnes, those were the happiest years of my life.
So you lived happily ever after? Well, until the war, I suppose.
Oh, no. No, my happiness came to an end long before the war started.
I'm so sorry to hear that. This recalling of memories must be very tiring and distressing for you. Why don't you head upstairs and rest a while?
I will. Thank you, Agnes. And thank you for your kindness.
I am so sorry that we cannot provide better for you, my lady, but we're all prisoners now.
Do not trouble yourself, Agnes. I have suffered worse than this. And I've been in a real prison and lived to tell the tale.
A real prison? Whatever do you mean?
Well, Robert and I lived very happily at Clun for nearly 6 years. But my father, who was very old by then, needed my help. So I went to his house at Stoke and cared for him there until he died in 34.
Well, surely he didn't hold you prisoner.
Oh, no, indeed. That came later. By the time of my father's death, Lord Buckingham was also gone, murdered by a disgruntled officer at Portsmouth. It was a great shock, not just to me, but to everyone. And then his younger brother and mother all passed away.
And Viscount Purbeck, your husband?
Oh, he lived on, but not with me. Still, I thought it safe to return to London. Clun was all very well, but it was too quiet there. I missed the company of life in London and longed to be back. Robert was waiting for me there, and although we could not live together, we were not far apart, and openly visited each other often. Sadly, this was noticed by those who did not wish us well, and the King ordered our arrest. They had Robert thrown into the Fleet prison, and I was taken to the Gatehouse prison.
How dreadful! How long did they keep you there?
Not long. Robert arranged with a friend to bribe the prison keeper, and I escaped, dressed as a man.
Dressed as a man? Again, how did you dare?
I dared, and I would dare again now if I had the strength, and a man's apparel.
They didn't come after you?
They tried to order Robert to produce me, but he would not, so he was sent back to prison. I fled, first to Guernsey, where my kinsman, the Earl of Danby, was governor, and then to France. I lived in Paris for almost 6 years.
And Sir Robert?
No. Even after he was released, he could not come openly. They forced him to put up a bond, a great deal of money to be forfeited if he ever came into my company again.
All those years and never a word from him?
Oh, he did come, but it was in secret, and for very brief visits only. Still, I had my dear son with me, and I made other friends. Sir Kenelm Digby gave me much comfort and support. We talked long about religion, and he convinced me that Catholicism was the only true form of Christianity.
And it was he who persuaded you to convert to the old faith?
It was. He even petitioned Lord Conway for a pardon for me. Even King Louis and Queen Anne took my part. My conversion won me much favour with the French royals, but none of them succeeded. I knew that King Charles wanted me to return to England so I could stand trial, so I fled to a convent.
You became a nun?
Oh, no! No, I found their way of life did not suit me and soon departed. But by then, France was in another war, and there were other troubles in England, so people had other things to worry about. They left me alone. Eventually, all my old enemies disappeared, one way or another. Even Archbishop Laud was sent to the Tower. He is there now. And the High Commission courts were abolished. So I returned to England. And that was a year before the war started.
But you did not go to your family? How did you end up here?
I went to my brother in Kingston and petitioned the Lords for the return of my lands and property. But they kept delaying my hearing, until in the summer of that year they could hear no more private petitions. They were too embroiled with the troubles with the king.
And then the war came.
And then the war came. And you know the rest.
Here, I brought you this. It may soothe you a little.
What's going on outside, Agnes? I heard all sorts of commotion.
Nothing to concern yourself with, mistress.
No, tell me. Are we in danger?
In truth, I do not know. They say that the Roundheads have built a bridge at Marston and across the river. Godstow House has been fired.
Or should we not flee the city while we can?
Oh, too late, mistress. The city has been besieged these several days past, and in any case, you are too unwell to travel.
I will not be beaten by this sickness. Why, just after Robert was born, I was grievously sick with the smallpox, but I survived.
Yes, but no doubt back then you had better food and proper medicine. Here we lack even the necessities for life.
Well, are our troops not protecting us, fighting back?
They do what they can. They flooded the meadow at Christchurch and are firing the houses on the outskirts of the city. But do not distress yourself, my lady. Rest now. I'll sit with you a while. Sir!
Please forgive my disturbing you, madam. I seek the Lady Purbeck. I hear she is lodging here.
And who are you, sir? What do you want of the lady?
I merely wish to speak with her. Is she here? Can you take me to her?
Your name, sir?
Please, madam, I beg you. I do not have long. The siege has been lifted, and I must depart with my regiment to join the king. I am Sir Robert Howard.
I guessed as much. Well, forgive me, you are too late.
Too late? She has gone.
Gone before, sir. I am so sorry. We buried her this Sunday past. She lies in the chancel of St. Mary the Virgin. She succumbed to this sickness, sir. There was nothing we could do. Nothing. Perhaps I could fetch you something. although there's little to offer. Anything.
Sir Robert continued to fight for the king at Bridgnorth, but when he was defeated, he went back to his estates in Shropshire. He had remained single throughout his relationship with Frances, and 3 years after her death, he married Catherine Neville, who gave him 3 sons. He died in 1653. Frances's husband, Viscount Purbeck, remarried and died in 1658. Frances and Robert's son, Robert, married Elizabeth, daughter of Sir John Danvers. From his grandmother, Lady Hatton, and other relatives, Robert received a significant inheritance, but he adhered to his anti-royalist ideas, even after the Restoration in 1660. He was sent to the Tower in 1661, transferred to York, from where he escaped and went to Calais. He died there in 1674, aged 50, and was buried in the Catholic Church.